afternoon. Today on Aspiring Women Today, we will have a special guest named Septima Clark. Many of you listeners will be familiar with Clark's influential role in education and civil rights activism. Her involvement in the NAACP led her fight for equality for African Americans in South Carolina. Everyone, please welcome Septima Clark. Septima, tell us more about this journey for equality. How did you help fight for African American teachers to be allowed to teach in public schools in Charleston, South Carolina?
Well, in the early 1900s, African Americans weren't allowed to teach in South Carolina, all because of the color of our skin. I grew up knowing that education is a powerful tool in this world. I wanted to do my part in empowering others, so I joined the NAACP to fight for a change in South Carolina. We led a campaign of gathering signatures to get Charleston to hire African Americans as teachers. It succeeded in 1920.
Wow, that is very inspiring. I read that you lived in Tennessee for some time. Why did you decide to move there from South Carolina?
Once I began teaching, I kept fighting for equality. African Americans were now allowed to be teachers, but they weren't receiving the same pay as Caucasian teachers. The NAACP led another campaign to get equal pay for African Americans. Soon, South Carolina tried to ban state employees from joining organizations like the NAACP. I refused to stop fighting for equality, so I moved to Tennessee to help start literacy schools.
Septima, how are your parents influential to your education?
My parents were both slaves. They encouraged me from a young age to get educated and showed me how important education was, regardless of your skin color.
And Septima, why do you feel that education is so important for empowering others?
Education helps propel people to make a difference. During this time in history, African Americans couldn't even vote on laws that could bring equality to all people because of literacy tests. I helped start literacy schools to teach African Americans how to read and other important skills so that they could have a voice. Education can change the world, and it shouldn't be withheld from anyone.
Thank you, Septima. Your story of your life and journey for equality in education is truly remarkable. What would have happened if you thought that you couldn't make a difference in education?
If I didn't think what I was doing was making a difference, I wouldn't have been able to accomplish all the things I did. You have to believe that you can make a difference.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Septima. We'll have to have you on the show again.